Hello everyone. Now we'll continue with our chapter 5, that is Newton's laws of motion. In the previous video, we studied about Newton's second law and then after the concept of impulse. Now we are studying Newton's third law of motion. We have studied this law in class 9th also. So we are just recalling a few basics. It states that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. And this action and reaction must act on different bodies. Why so? Because in case this action reaction would have acted on the same body, the net force on that body would have been zero. So this is a necessary condition. From here we can infer some important points. The first point I have already stated. This action reaction act on different bodies, right? And from this action and reaction, any of these action reaction forces can be considered as action and the other one as reaction. So second point is there is no cause and effect relation between action and reaction, right? A third and very important point is that the forces always occur in okay. Now if I want to draw the diagram for this is the body A, this is the body B, right? Then force on body A due to B is represented by this. You have to remember this thing. This way of writing is very important. How do we write the suffix? We need to remember for future reference also. So this is force on A due to B, and force on B due to A is represented by FBA. So force on B due to A. So according to this third law, if I want to write it mathematically, I can write force on A due to B is equal in magnitude, but the direction is opposite. So these are equal and opposite action reaction forces. So opposite means I have placed a minus sign. Equal means the magnitudes of FAB and FBA are equal, right? So I can take some examples over here. Where these action reaction forces are clearly given. So I can take some examples like this. Number 1, book kept on a table, right? So if I talk about this table, and a book is kept here, Then if W is the weight of the book acting downwards, then a reaction force which is called as normal reaction, this is the force acting upwards, right? So this reaction force is given by the table in upward directions, and this action force is by the weight of the book on the table, right? Where R is the reaction force of table on the book, W is the weight force of the book on the table, right? Then we have another example, second, that is swimming. In swimming, what happens is that the person sends the water backwards, and the reaction of the water helps swimming. Okay, so this is also a case where third law is visible. Then we have a person jumping out of a boat, and the boat is shifted slightly backwards. So we can take the third example like this. This is the shore and this is the boat. A person who jumps out of the boat, this is given this reaction, so the boat is shifted backwards. So this is the reaction and this is the action in this case. So these are in pairs acting on different bodies. Now we can say that the second law, Newton's second law, is the real law of motion. Why? Because the first law and the third law can be derived from it. So now we are going to discuss second law of motion, or you can say Newton's second law of motion is the real law of motion. This we can prove by proving that the first law and the third law can be derived from the second law. So this we are going to prove. So first heading would be that derivation of first law from second. Okay, what is second law? We know that we can write down the second law like this: F is equal to mass into acceleration. So if force, that is external force, if external force is 0, that means the left side can be written 0 and this is equal to mass into acceleration. So if left side is 0, mass cannot be 0. So mass can't be 0. Therefore, acceleration is 0. If acceleration is 0, that means the velocity is constant. So if velocity is 0, it will remain 0. If it is in motion, then the velocity will remain constant. So this is our first law. So this is the this first law is proved here, or you can say the derived here from the second law. Now I can derive the third law from the second law. We know the other form of the second law. What is that? F is equal to dp by dt. Now let's take two bodies. If force is applied on A by B, then whose momentum will change? Suppose this is the body A and body B is applying force on body A. Whose momentum will change? A or B? The momentum of A will change. If I am pushing someone, the motion of that person will change because I am applying the force. So my force on that person will result in his change in momentum. So you can say if B is applying the force on A, that is force on A due to B, then his change in momentum will take place. So this is very important concept here. So that's why I have written it here for understanding. So this can be written as, this is dp upon dt, but whose momentum? Force on A due to B. So here it will be pa. Now this is a vector quantity. I have written like this. Similarly, force on B due to A, this will be written as dpb upon dt, right? So if I write this, I am considering equation 2 and this I am considering as 1. So 1 plus 2, what will I get? FAB plus FBA is equal to dPA by dt plus dPB by dt, right? We know that differentiation is separately applicable on this, so I can club these. You have to recall the concept of differentiation. What was the concept? If we are applying d by dt on suppose 2x plus x square. So what do we write? D by dt of 2x plus d by dt of x square separately. So if we have these separately, I can club these and write like this. So this is what I have applied here. So this is again for the understanding, right? So this is again for the understanding and this is for the understanding. So this I have done. Now this is FAB plus FB, right? Now we know if there is a system of two bodies, if the net force on these two bodies is not there, is zero, external force. If net external force is zero, then there will be no change in momentum. And we can state this statement in inverse manner like this. If there is no net change in momentum, right? So we say if this change in momentum of both the bodies is zero, then what will happen? Then we can say that FAB plus FBA must also be zero, right? What does that mean? We can mention it here. If right side is zero, then the left side must also be zero. That means if right hand side is zero, then left hand side must also be zero. This is what I have applied. So from here, this is 0. So you can write down FAB is equal to minus FBA. This is the third law. So that means we have just seen that we can derive the third law from the second law and first law from the second law. So from second law, I have written this, and here also I have written this from second law. So since the first law and the third law can be proved from the second law, so we can say that the second law is real law, real law of motion, right? So that's another important concept. And then we can take the law of conservation of movement. Now the momentum. Now that you are familiar with the second law and the third law, the second and the third law give rise to a very important concept, or you can say a very important law, that is law of conservation of linear momentum. So I'm rubbing this. So what is law of conservation of momentum? The statement is also very important. Law of conservation of linear momentum. So what does it say? We know, first I'll tell you how this statement is derived. We know by second law, F is equal to dp by dt, right? If F external is 0, that means left hand side is, so this is the equation now. So from here dp is 0, that means change in momentum is 0. What does that mean? That the momentum is conserved. So you can say, therefore, the linear momentum is conserved or constant. Conserved means constant. So if there is no change, that means it is constant. That's what, right? So what will be the statement? The law of conservation of linear momentum. I'll write the statement here. This law states that in the absence of the external force, the change in linear momentum of the system is 0. Or you can say, it states that in the absence of external force, the linear momentum of the system is conserved. Now this is an important law. Okay, so now we can take the applications of laws of conservation of linear momentum. So these applications are also very interesting. First is the recoil of gun. Again, you have studied this in 9th standard. So first is the recoil of the gun. If you have a pistol and bullet system, the mass of the pistol is capital M, mass of the bullet is small m. So before the shooting, what happens? The bullet and the pistol system is at rest. So you can say that the initial momentum of the bullet and the pistol is 0. The total initial momentum of the bullet and pistol, that is 0, because this bullet is at rest. Once this bullet is fired, what will happen? We have this and the bullet. So with our discussion, it will be clear that this will be the case of the momentum. This is m. If v is the velocity of this is m, and this will be the velocity of this. You will get to know over here. We know that by law of conservation of momentum, of linear momentum, initial momentum is equal to final momentum. So initial momentum of the system is equal to final momentum of the system, right? So you can say that initial momentum of bullet and pistol is 0. Final moment of the system means final momentum of bullet and final momentum of the pistol. So I can say, if we talk about the magnitude, let's say mass into velocity plus small m into small v. So from here, I can clearly see that mv is equal to minus mv. So capital V is minus mv upon capital M. So capital V is opposite to small v. That means this capital V will be in opposite direction, as I have shown here. I have already written minus v, but this is derived from here. That's why I had written this minus v. Second example can be when a man jumps out of a boat. We have discussed this in the previous video. So this man is jumping out. So this is moving this way. This is moving this way. This can also be explained using the same concept. If m is the mass of this, initially the system of the person was inside the boat. So this complete system was at rest with respect to each other. So you can say that the initial momentum is equal to final momentum. So initial momentum was 0. So this boat plus man, right? So when the man was in boat, he was at rest, so the total momentum of the system was 0. So this boat and man will have this relation of momentum. So again from here mv is equal to minus mv. So capital V is equal to minus mv upon capital M. The same explanation. That means the boat will be shifted slightly backwards. Similarly, we can take another example. One more example I'll take. So in the spaceship, what happens when an astronaut accidentally comes out of the spacecraft and he has no connection with the spacecraft to return? What will he do? By law of conservation of momentum, since there is no external force on the system, this is your spacecraft, okay? And this astronaut by chance comes out of the spacecraft. So in order to go back, he wants to return, right? So he throws something in opposite direction to return to the spacecraft. I really like this example. If he accidentally comes here, so in order to conserve the momentum, so he throws something here, so that will help him in returning to the spacecraft, because that object and the person, that system was at rest with respect to each other, right? So this is the third example. Now we can derive the Newton's third law is already derived from here. We have to derive the law of conservation of momentum. So I'm just rubbing this board. So derivation of we know by second law that F is similar. वैसे this is not difficult for you. Force on A due to B. This is the change in momentum of A or you can say delta P by delta T, right? Similarly, you can write force on B due to A. This can be written as change in momentum of B with respect to time. So I can write FAB into delta T. This can be written as delta PA. And this can be written as force on B due to A into delta T. I have simply cross multiplied beta. Okay. This change in momentum of A, if I have two bodies A and B. Okay. So if PA is initial and PA dash is final momentum. So I can say that this is PA dash final minus initial momentum. Similarly for B, if PB dash is the final momentum, then final minus initial is this. I can take this as equation 1 and this as equation 2. Then add 1 and 2. I will get FAB delta T plus FBA delta T is equal to PA dash minus PA plus PB dash minus PB. From here I can take this common, delta T common, FAB plus FBA into delta T is equal to PA dash minus PA plus PB dash minus PB, right? Now by Newton's third law, FAB is equal to minus FBA. Therefore 0 is equal to PA dash minus PA plus PB dash minus PB. So therefore PA plus PB is equal to PA dash plus PB dash. This means the total initial momentum is equal to total final momentum. This is proved. So this is the derivation of the law of conservation of linear momentum. Rest of the things we'll take in the next video. Thank you and have a nice day. Revise all these things. These are very important.